Are you really playing Sammy's fucking theme right now?
I am. Because we got we got things to talk about. And I like to have some sort of a theme to the show. So when we every week it's kind of like the headline guy gets a little bit of his music played.
Damn, I need my own theme music then.
Let's see. I have. Hold on. I can find your theme music. Hold on. Give me. I got it. Especially after yesterday. Hold on.
I can't hear it.
It's getting there.
No chance. That's what you
Why? Why does it have to be this one?
Because it was the Trivimania screw job last night.
Listen,
That's that's why.
if I see you say any shit talking to Jet involving, oh, you got points handed to you, you literally had a whole game given
First
to
of all,
you.
that's not my fault. That's because the person who won couldn't show up. So
You lost. Okay,
I
at least
cashed
Jet
in.
won his game.
I cashed in my money in the bank. That's all I
Oh,
gotta
what
say.
the fuck though? Like, I still can't believe that shit happened the way it happened. It's like bonkers to me. I don't know why, but definitely blows my mind.
So how we doing today? Did you catch up on wrestling?
Yeah, I pretty much spent the last hour and a half binge watching every clip I can find, both AEW and WWE. So I'm half caught up, including some collision clips. So whenever I eventually get questions asked of DJ, what you thought of this? I have answers now.
Well, let's start with the big news, and that we have a new United States champion in Sami Zayn. What's your take, your opinions on them pulling the title off of Carmelo 3 weeks to Mania?
Uh, so I think they're gonna turn it to a three-way the finish happened and Trick costing Carmelo the belt pretty much. I think the Mania match will be a three-way for that belt. And I actually kind of like the thought of the belt over the past few months has been hot potatoed. I mean, I wish there was more interest in this shit. I think they're trying to use some of the over that Trick is getting and have him rub it off on both Sammy and Carmelo. So it's an interesting thing to do. This was one of the one of the 2 or 3 segments that Jelly Bro wasn't involved in. So that's why I enjoyed it more.
I think it might end up being a four-way. I think they're gonna get Ilya in there as well.
I can see that, but you get what I mean though. Like that belt over the past 4 to 5 months has been hot potatoed a lot, and honestly, it hasn't been a bad thing.
Well, I don't know if your definition of hot potato is the same as mine because it has been jumping champion to champion. Carmelo's had it for 3 months, so it's not like someone's winning it every other week. I think that's more like hot potato than.
I'm saying for WWE, they usually don't move the belt this often. The past 6 months, you've had Sammy, Ilya, Mello, and
Now Sammy again.
Sammy again. You know what I mean? Like, how often do you see WWE title changes at least that often? You feel me?
Right, but it's also the mid card title and should be. We shouldn't be having 9-month reigns for the Intercontinental and the U.S. title either.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with the IC title, it seems like the past few guys who's had the belt, like the Gunthers and the Doms, had have had long runs with. I think the only like short-ish run was when Braun Breaker lost it to Jey Uso for like 2 weeks and then won it right back.
Right. But
So
like,
like,
yeah, like I said, I don't feel mid card titles, and that goes for AEW too. Like the TNT title, you should not have it on someone for 6 months. So it should be, hopping between people and stuff like that. I mean, you get your rare thing with like Gunther holding it for as long as he did, but the head had lost so much luster by that time. So, but I also want to bring up the Jelly Roll stuff because I'm actually kind of against. I was with it and against it at the same time, and what I mean by that is, yeah, we didn't need 5 segments with Jelly Roll in it, but I didn't have a problem with Jelly Roll showing up in that main event segment between Cody and Randy because Jelly Roll kind of is a connective tissue in the story of Randy dating back to last summer. So I didn't have an issue with him being there, getting the RKO. I don't want him showing up during the match and pulling a Travis Scott. And if that was the end of Jelly Roll within the story of Randy and Cody, I was actually okay with that. I just didn't think you needed 5 segments with Jelly Roll in it.
that part, at least me and you are in agreement on that. And for the most, if this was like the brawl started with Jelly Roll trying to be like a mediator or something, and then Jelly Roll took the RKO, then you got me. Yeah, you can use him for the segment. But the fact that you already have agents, Nick Aldis, you're trying to create this, serious, urgent, big fight, big brawl feel, and then fucking Jelly Rolls out of nowhere. You feel me? It's just in there with all the agents and security trying to break this up. He's extremely out of place.
Yeah, but if you think about it, he's also trying to be like the guy in the middle trying to break 2 friends up who are fighting. You know what I mean? He's close to Randy. He's friends with Cody. You got this big brawl going over the place. One of the weakest pull apart brawls WWE has done in a long time.
Oh, well, I'll get to how crappy the brawl
Yeah.
was in a second.
But then he decided to come out to break them, try to separate them and help and be like the voice of reason. And then he got dropped. So, like I said, to me, it was more of a connective tissue of Jelly Roll. As long as they don't keep using him in those main event spots, and especially as long as he doesn't show up during the match for Mania, I was okay with how he was used. I didn't understand why he was involved with the Damian Priest stuff, and
he was overused and overexposed. Like
I agree with that.
Him being there, like I said, him being there after already being everywhere else on the fucking show took more away from the segment than actually the segment itself already did. I think the brawl idea was a good idea, but I think they went drastically too long. They overstayed their fucking welcome for a while. And they should have just teased us with a little mini brawl. Again, we got what, two weeks till Mania?
3.
3 weeks till Mania?
That's right.
So like you got more than enough time to have this big giant brawl like the one y'all had here, instead of just basically blowing y'all load in 1 minute. Because, like, what the fuck else are they going to do now?
And it was very reminiscent of when he turned on Cody a couple weeks ago because they had everyone out there for that as well.
I don't know. Like I said, I hated the brawl. I hated Jelly Roll being all over the show. I do agree that if he was only in the main event and he was there at the beginning of the segment as, like, a mediator, and then then they start to get close to the brawl. He tries to break it up. Randy RKO's him, rolls out the ring. Cody's there looking at Jelly Roll's lifeless body while Randy's walking out saying, "That's you next, bitch." And then, okay, now, you feel me? That builds up to the brawl. That's how you get to your next step.
Right.
Instead of, okay, we're just going to have Cody walk down to the ring, with security already around them and everything, we're going to beat the shit out of the security and take away all credibility and seriousness of this. I get that it's a show, but you want us to be immersed into this, not just insult our intelligence. So I didn't like that Cody and Randy just beat the shit out of all the security guards during the entire segment, pretty much, until they were done. Until they got all their shit in.
And I think part of the problem with that is we did not hear what Jelly Roll was saying to Cody when he was as he was coming out during the commercial, and they had it muted even for the international audience. Because when I was talking to Zeus yesterday, he said that there was no audio either. So you missed some possible narrative to why Jelly Roll ended up out there by having that muted the entire time.
Like I said, I just thought it was weird in terms of like how long it was. Why did we do this now? We have still X amount of time till Mania. This just seems like a mid-card feud. This doesn't feel like a night 1 or night 2 main event. It feels like a mid-card feud. And this is for the WWE Championship, the most prestigious belt in this company. Even though they have another World Heavyweight title to dispute this one, this is the number 1 title. So I just don't, I don't know. This build could be way better. There's like 2 things that has gotten my interest for Mania that have actually been built right. The Ober Brock shit, and Roman and Punk. And Roman and Punk has had its hit and misses. So
okay, so let's get into that. What did you think of the other side of the coin for the on Raw, the way they ended Raw this past week?
It wasn't bad. I mean, it was, to me, it was definitely a step up from last week. I said last week was the worst segment of the build so far, or at least in my opinion. This definitely stepped up from that because it was more psychological, and Jay was a little less overacting, and Jimmy don't get his appreciation. People need to start appreciating Jimmy Uso. When those 3 are together, at least now at this point, and when they're way more seasoned, like the Bloodline, they were finding their footing. Now, they're around and they found their footing. It's really great seeing them in form. Jimmy's great. Jay is Jay. Roman coming in just beating the shit out of him. I think the Jay, telling Roman what to do thing's gonna lead to an eventual Jay Roman match. But
He can call him by his real name.
Yeah, go get him, Joe. You know what to do. Smash him.
Wait, did he call him Joe? I didn't.
Yeah, he called him Joe.
Oh, then I missed that part then.
Yeah, he called him Joe. He said, "Yo, Joe, go get him." And that's when Roman turned around, speared his ass again, and started smashing.
I'm very much, when it comes to wrestling, I like to think where they're gonna go 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, not just what's gonna happen tomorrow. So I like the fact that we're looking at a possible post-Mania story going, with the fact that Jay was the one calling the shots and Roman was doing what Jay called for. So that part I did like. I thought that was intriguing. I felt that was a segment that honestly could have used blood. I feel that Punk...
Still too early. I think it's still too early to do any more blood segments. I think Cody and Randy established Randy's heel turn, and that's why it was needed there. But if you're going to use blood for Punk and Roman, it's got to be not next week, but the week after. Like the week before the go-home show. To where when Punk comes back the week for the go-home show to cut the passionate promo saying he's going to beat Roman and blah. Because Punk's really good at that shit. he is really good at cutting the underdog. I just got my ass kicked, but I'm going in with a fire lit under my ass, and I'm gonna win for you guys and the people because I'm CM Punk and I'm the best in the world. He's great at cutting that type of promo. He did it when after Moxley beat him in that Chicago when they literally threw a baby in the fucking air. Like he did it when MJ with the Valentine's promo with MJF when he called him out for the dog collar match. Like those were extremely great. Punk works great in adversity. He works great when he seems like he's weak. So if you're gonna draw some blood on him, use all three of the bloodline to sit here and say, all right, we're gonna show you how the bloodline get down. Because Jay's mad, Roman's mad, and Jimmy's just, he has to have his family's back.
I just felt after he's put through the table, he's laughing. He had that white sweatshirt on. I just thought that would have been a great visual that if he was all bloodied, blood all over the shirt, as he's laughing in Roman's face, that Roman needed the help. I just felt that would have been a great visual. But, it definitely feels night and day as far as the two main events and how they're being booked and presented. And, it definitely doesn't feel like a championship match on the SmackDown side. It doesn't feel like...
It's not that it doesn't feel like a championship match. It just doesn't feel like a WWE championship match.
It doesn't feel like a WrestleMania match. Let's put it that way.
Like I said, it feels mid-card at best. Like, I'm sorry, if this is a main... Oba and Brock should close night one with how good and perfect their whole build has been. Because Brock's going to come back and lay Oba on his ass at some point.
He's got to. Otherwise, you're pretty much telegraphing the fact that Oba's not winning. If he keeps getting the upper hand over and over and over again.
So yeah, Brock's gonna come back with a fury with Oba, laying him out twice and getting him in this issue over. Now the issue is pretty much over with them. They just need to string us along for a few more weeks. And I think with the Roman and Punk stuff, it's been really good because each one of their segments have had a different type of layer to it. And it's about something they said the previous week that sent one person over the edge. It's the old-fashioned wrestling mind games thing, which is really good. This is how you stretch a feud. So I think the difference with Cody and Randy is A, it was last minute. B, they turned the wrong fucking guy heel, and it's not even working. They're cheering this guy every time, no matter what. Except when he tried to insult the audience one time, they didn't boo him. They just stayed silent because they're like, "Oh, he's trying to be mean to us, but we still love him." There was actually a small chant in the background after he insulted them. "Oh, 9 Randy." I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, Randy's unfortunately for this situation, Randy's at that point that he's not going to get booed. No matter what he does, he's in that upper echelon at this point that he's just so respected by, the WWE fans that nothing he does is going to get them really to boo. He's supposed to be the heel. He's beating up Cardona. They're chanting one more time. They were chanting, like you said, 09 Randy. I mean, it's like the more he tries being a heel, the more he's getting over as a babyface. And it's just...
Not even... So, I think that's contributing, but I also think Cody as a babyface, at which Cody doesn't understand this, because when he stopped getting over in AEW, he just immediately jumped to the greener side and did the exact same thing. But Cody as a babyface does have a shelf life. And Cody's been bland as fuck for over a year. It's been the same cookie cutters, every feud with Cody's the fucking same. Am I wrong for saying that?
No.
Or does not feel the fucking same?
No, because Cody is basically doing the Hulk Hogan thing. And what I mean that is like Hogan during that whole babyface run, it was the same character. It was the same thing. He didn't. His nuances didn't change. They just removed.
There's a difference in the audience that though between who Cody is appealing to and who Hogan was appealing to. Hogan was appealing to the everyday fan who wasn't smart to the business, who was going to see their favorite guy win every time because he was actually the best. To where in this modern WWE landscape, where we're full of smart fans, everybody's in with the joke. WWE, like, make sure everybody's in and knows everything's fake. So it's like we know that they're playing characters. We know that, you know, this isn't really what they want or what they are, or who they're trying to be. So the crowd really just doesn't give a shit anymore. They just go with the flow. They like the songs and they like the certain people who's been there for forever.
Well, what I meant by the Hogan thing is that Hogan still, despite the kayfabe and how that we now are smart fans versus we back then everyone believed, it still was Hogan basically did the same dance every month no matter who the opponent was, whether it was Bundy, Stud, Mr. Wonderful, Roddy Piper. He still did. It was still paint by numbers.
I think there's a difference with the opponents though that Cody has had available to him in his title runs compared to who Hogan had available to him during his title runs. Like, I think the only matches I really thought were really good with Cody being champion, or a feud that was somewhat interesting, was him and AJ, because it was something different, and they had actually really solid matches, and him and Owens, because again, something different, and they had a couple crazy matches. But everything else has been bland. Everything else has been repetitive, and it's just like people want to see something different with Cody. This is what got Cody not over in AEW, because this is the same exact formula that he wanted to do when he was in AEW, and it didn't work in the long run. But let me shut up. I'm going too much on soliloquies. My B.
No, you're good. Keep going. But I do agree that it just doesn't feel like it's WrestleMania worthy, as opposed to on the Raw side between Punk and Roman. So, does anyone want to join in and give their ideas, their thoughts on?
No, hold on. Let me go back on one point. I'm sorry, Corey. Then I'll give you the fucking floor. Just the fucking thought right now that the match is gonna be Jelly Roll and Danhausen versus Kit Wilson and the fucking Miz is just gonna prove my point even more that Royce Keys, Powerhouse Hobbs, whatever their name they're gonna change it to again probably, is fucked. Unless, and I'm adding this one caveat, so just in case I do get proven wrong in the future, unless they pair him with Ricky Saints. Unless they're bringing up Ricky Saints after Mania, and that's their plan, to bring him up as a twosome and fix that tag division, that broken tag division for now, because you don't got anywhere else in the singles division where you can throw Keys to where he's not just going to become another guy. That's the only way he's not fucked.
He's not. He's not fucked because they are just waiting till after Mania to bring him in. He's been working the main event tapings. They're keeping him still ready to go, but you're not going to just shoehorn him in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks to Mania. We've seen that happen to people in the past.
He debuted at Rumble.
Yeah, and then he came off TV. So they're going to re-debut him.
Why did he come off TV if they debuted him at Rumble?
I feel they did that because Saudi requested it. We know Saudi pulls strings that they want guys to show up. So
I can put money. I can almost bet you money that I'm like 95% positive. I'll be able to bet you money that Royce Keith was not requested by Saudi. Because none of them watch it. The only way they would know who the fuck he is if they watch AEW. They don't get AEW out there.
Maybe not him specifically, but I could see them saying we want someone to make a debut, and the only one they really had was Royce. So, like I said, I'm against you on this that Royce Keys is fucked because
Go ahead.
I want him.
Because they're holding off the fucking don't mean it ain't eventually gonna happen.
Okay, eventually, anything can eventually happen. That's like the argument that everyone says that no champions have been born before 1987 in WWE, and then they're gonna switch it to 1997 once it happens. They're just gonna move the goalposts for their narrative. I just don't feel he's fucked and DOA until he's actually used and put in a position to be used properly.
No, see, you get proven wrong when they have plans for Jelly Roll and push that motherfucker harder out of nowhere. Danhausen has been on literally every fucking show since Chamber, nonstop. Like, I ain't trying to hear that shit.
Let me ask you something.
He's dead on arrival because they had no real fucking plans for him. So we're just going to debut him and then throw him into the shelf because we don't bench guys here in WWE.
What is one standard that has always been a part of WrestleMania since 1985?
You're going to explain to me, Uncle Brandon, today, apparently. I have no clue.
Celebrities. Celebrities have always been a part of WrestleMania since the start. Jelly Roll is being part of WrestleMania because it gets more mainstream attention. Royce Keys is not getting mainstream attention the way Jelly Roll would. Okay?
You're making my argument without even knowing it.
How am I making your argument? It's not making your argument at all because you want to compare the way they use Jelly Roll to Royce Keys, who hasn't.
I said Danhausen too.
Okay, what was your favorite WWE Danhausen match? He hasn't had one. He's doing little
it's about to be
backstage
Danhausen
segments.
and Jelly Roll versus Kit Wilson and The Miz.
Right, they're doing little backstage segments for Danhausen to help him get over, to sell merch. To even try to compare the two, who are completely going to be used in completely different fashions, is disingenuous.
I'm not being disingenuous. I'm using the history of WWE and how they use guys and how they push guys and how they treat guys when they're serious. When they have a plan for someone, if they really do want to use someone, they're just stalling for time. Again, if they were going to do this to Hobbs, throw him in NXT so he can get actually used to the system. You can get him fucking over. And then whenever you got the space for him, when you start cycling people out and you eventually kick LA Knight out the fucking back door, you can bring in Royce Keys and his beautiful talking manager, Ricky Saints, who's a really good singles guy too, who can help get him over, get him heat.
Well, I've seen conflicting reports about the NXT thing. Supposedly they didn't want to put him in the NXT. I don't know. Either way, first off, I agree with you about the NXT thing. He should have gone to NXT. But I just don't think he's dead in the water until we see what they actually do. I think you're just jumping the gun because they haven't used him yet. But I saw Main Event Hub.
Your explanation to try to justify them not using him is, well, he's been on Main Event.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's like saying Serpentico's a fucking superstar because he's been on Dark and Elevation.
That's not the same at all, and you know it.
It is. Main Event is the equivalent of Dark and Elevation. Is the WWE equivalent at least.
Oh, brother.
Am I wrong for saying that? Who the fuck watches Main Event?
They're keeping him to do reps. They're using Main Event to have him stay fresh and get the reps in. So, my whole point is to say that they don't have a plan when they just want to wait until after Mania.
No,
what
do you mean? I can say justly they don't have a plan because there's guys who's literally just walked in out the blue that they've had fucking plans for.
I wouldn't call Danhausen cursing people in the back an actual plan for people.
He's on the show every fucking week. They had plans for that.
Okay, so you would rather him have a 90-second segment every week?
Yes. 30 seconds getting to the ring to squash said enhancement talent. 30 more seconds to squash said enhancement talent.
And then if you
30
didn't
more
get on Mania,
seconds
you
to
would
fucking
complain
raise
he's
his
not on
arms
Mania.
with the referee and look at him menacingly and get the fuck out of there.
And then you would complain that he doesn't get on the WrestleMania card and that he's DOA because they didn't have plans because he's not on WrestleMania. Because he's only been squashing people.
You've had since Rumble something to do with him. You just started building your world title feud. You're making excuses for them for not having plans for somebody and pretty much killing him on arrival.
Because you don't know that they don't have plans. You're assuming they don't have plans because he's not on TV now. You're not understanding that they want to just wait till you get over the WrestleMania hump to start your fresh cycle. We saw how
great. Then don't debut him at the Rumble in Saudi Arabia. To no popping, no way to stand out, or maybe it doesn't look good.
To Brandon's point, they debuted Jade at the Rumble before she actually had her real debut. They've done that before.
And
that wasn't in Saudi. That wasn't
It was at the Rumble.
That wasn't in Saudi.
It was at the Rumble.
And I agree with you on the point about they should not have used him at the Rumble. I'm not disputing that, but I just don't think he's DOA. That's my whole point. We saw what they did with Rey Fenix last year. He's been DOA. So maybe they're trying not to repeat the same mistakes. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying I feel like you're jumping the gun with the Royce Keys conversation. Wait until they actually officially debut him on weekly TV and see what they do with him. Hey, Main Event Hub, I saw you had your hand up. Did you want to jump in?
Yeah, this is where kind of you lose the ground here. They just started building all their matches within the last few weeks, with the exception of Roman and Punk. So at that point, they've had plenty of time to figure something out for Royce Keys if they really wanted to use him for Mania. But the excuse of, we're just going to wait till after Mania, that's creative inept right there. That's stupid. You've already debuted him, so why not use him? Yeah, if he doesn't make the Mania card, doesn't make the Mania card, whatever. But at least you're building him up beforehand. Now, when he debuts, what we're talking about, putting him with the Eater. Like they have plans for Danhausen. Yes, Danhausen segments, that and the other. But they actually have an actual story with Danhausen going on right now with The Miz. And that's going to be tied into the Jelly Roll match. So Danhausen technically has a story going on. It's not just backstage segments.
But you always want that big debut for the Raw and the SmackDown after Mania.
He debuted at the Rumble.
Okay, I get that. But they haven't used him, so guess what? They're going to pretend like it didn't happen. They're going to pretend like it didn't happen. And they're going to re-debut him.
My point even more valid.
We saw Jade do like Corey just said. Before Jade officially debuted in her first match, she had backstage segments with like Charlotte face-to-face, and then she disappeared for months and didn't have an official in-ring debut until the Royal Rumble. And you know what?
So it's happened before.
Yeah, Jade's doing just fine. Whether you
I wouldn't
like
go
her,
that far.
She's champion, so you can't complain that she's.
I still wouldn't go that far.
Hold on, let's not act like the field in the women's division to be a top woman isn't a lot easier to be than the field of being a top guy in the men's. There's definitely a lot you got to work over and work through.
But to say they haven't had enough time before WrestleMania, during WrestleMania season, to have them on TV or figure something out for them is just wrong. They've had time. They've incorporated people they've just signed in there. Most of their Mania plans and stuff, they just threw together less than a month ago now.
Well, I wouldn't say that. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries that screwed up a lot of their plans.
There's two injuries. There's two injuries. Breaker and Rollins. That's it. No one else is hurt.
Mysterio?
And Mysterio.
Okay, Mysterio, that's one. Gunther, Mysterio. Bronson Reed, no offense, I don't think he was getting a big Mania match to begin with. So really, of your Mania matches, it's really Gunther, Ray, which is caught up right now, because Ray can't stay healthy to save his life. And then Breaker and Rollins, which those two are kind of tied together. What other major injuries do they have where you get to drop this to do this, or that to do that? There is none. Most of the injuries, the only one that's really affected by an injury right now is Gunther, because the person he was supposed to retire is hurt. Everyone else is healthy, or the other Mania match, which is dealing with injuries, they're both fucking injured.
Not even that, Hub. what is Penta doing for the IC title?
Have an open challenger.
He's gonna be. I think the IC title is gonna become the new Open Challenge title.
No, you get what I mean, though. Why couldn't you just build something quickly with him and Hobbs? They have AEW history. If you were gonna use Hobbs, if you needed to use, you feel me? If you were gonna looking for plans for Hobbs and you need for something for him to do, okay, let's put Oba on SmackDown, unless Oba's gonna be a Raw guy after. Again, I don't know. I'm going with Oba on SmackDown and Royce on Raw. Especially
It's gonna be vice
Oba.
versa.
It's been reported that
I think Oba's going to Raw.
SmackDown.
I think,
Oba's gonna be on
Hell,
that place.
Yeah,
Oba's
That's-
another one. You debuted Oba at Rumble technically.
Yeah, but we're
So
also
they had.
are we gonna really
they-
put Oba in the same conversation as Royce Keys? Honestly,
Yeah, let's not.
Well, that
You know what?
dude, and Oba's got the Goldberg thing. Like you can't put him in the mid card and have him.
No. I'm
Yeah.
not saying comparing the stars, but it's another guy that's debuted during Mania season. They figured something out for. Danhausen debuted well after the Rumble.
Yeah, but people
They
before
have
Oba,
something for
before
real.
Oba was
You've
even the
had
Rumble,
time.
before Oba was even the Rumble, people were fantasy booking him and Brock. Let's be honest.
Before Oba was in the Rumble, before this feud started, everyone was petrified how to be booked on the main roster.
Right, but everybody's like, oh,
Because
Hillman Goldberg, or not Goldberg, but Hillman Brock. Everybody, it's not.
Well, Brock, no offense, Brock
Yeah.
only has 2 fucking dream matches anyone has left for him. It's
Let's go
Gunther
through.
and
Let's go through it, but yeah, but
After that, no offense, I don't think anyone really cares about seeing Brock after that.
No, I still want to see Brock and Braun.
I think that ship is sailed.
I don't know.
I-
I think Brock,
I
Brock,
think he has
Brock
2
would
matches
still
left.
get money. It would go for crazy money.
But like, this is something
I
I
don't think
told
it's 50 on that match.
Heel a few months but when the Brock thing started, when he announced the schedule. This feels more like Brock making his rounds before
And
finals,
I-
either in the summer.
and I do got a question on Royce Keys. Would you rather him be in a Rumble or a Mania program right now, probably be what 9th or 10th, or would you rather debut him after WrestleMania and have him be a main focal point?
Would he be a main focal point, though? That's my question. Because look at the.
I think if he was on SmackDown right now, I think he would be a lot higher priority than having the 10th WrestleMania program against the Miz.
I don't think he would, because based on let's put it at face value. Let's say they hired the Evil and the other person they hired. Those 2 are probably gonna be more of a main focal point for that.
Then
SmackDown after
Evil's going to be in NXT. They've already said, and Yuta Takahashi, he's going to be in NXT also.
Takahashi's too good for NXT. Evil should not even be on TV. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, but and
But
that's
like-
also a favor probably.
all right. Let me say, but let's use let's forget the NXT part. Let's say Evil and Tanahashi were gonna go and what they were gonna be the team against MFTs with Nakamura. I really think that's lower down
That's not.
than a Royce Keys getting a singles.
Yeah,
I mean, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga both debuted as side pieces in this solo Sokoa shit right now. So it's a platform. They get Solo and his group, no matter how bad that group has been for the past year and a half.
Oh, it's still awful.
It has
No.
been bad, but they're on TV consistently.
it's been bad since Jacob was ever out of it. I think the only thing that was over
It was bad before Jacob was
I don't
out.
know if you saw that was the only thing.
But don't you think it's fair? Don't you think it's fair to say that Jacob is a whole different animal in the fact that he got so over that no matter what he was being put in, he was going to excel and rise above?
Nothing personal against AC
mean-
Slater or JC Mateo or whatever, but that dude, he should have gone.
Tama Tonga has a chance.
Oh no, they're definitely going to be pushing him after Mania to a singles. He's definitely breaking off from the MFT.
He has a chance. Tonga Loa is kind of fucked, but he's hilarious.
Oh yeah, Tonga Loa is super fucked.
JC Mateo is, you look Samoan, so you come over here.
And I still think Royce has a better chance than any of those other guys in MFT.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I think he's on the equivalent level. But hold on, real quick, before anyone else go. Brandon respectfully has his hand up.
Brandon Ace.
Or yeah.
How's everyone doing today?
What's up? What's up?
What up?
Good.
Good. Anyone saw any match cage ratings recently?
Yeah, this show has been cage match rated 3.75 so far with 15 votes.
That's some serious stuff. I can tell you that. Okay, I'm just joking with everyone's leg. But I've been seeing that going around, and it's like, when do we start taking match cage ratings seriously again? I'm like, huh?
I'm gonna be honest
It's a
with you,
very-
Ace. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's an AEW fan thing. They're the ones who post cage match ratings after every show.
Well, it's that, and everybody got all in their feelings about Sammy losing, so they're like every match on the show was bad. It was so subjective.
But it's honestly more on the AEW fan side. They like it's almost like they use anything to to justify AEW being a quote unquote better product than WWE.
My bad. I didn't mean to like overmute you, Brendan Ace. It's just your background was how.
I mean, my bad. But I look, when it comes to these cage match ratings, I'm like, you do know this is just based upon opinions of like at least, I don't know how many people are on there, like at best 50, maybe 30 that have an opinions on a certain show, and it's like, you do know they do not represent like millions upon millions of views on how they watch wrestling.
They know that they're just being disingenuous with the comparisons. They use whatever they can to flex.
That's exactly my point. I argued with someone yesterday. I said that you keep posting this number for SmackDown with 20 votes, and the guy's like, well, that's 20 people who didn't like it. So if you think 20 people didn't like it, I bet there's a whole lot more that didn't. I'm like, I'm sure there is, but you're still trying to use something that has 20 people voicing their opinion as some sort of gotcha. I put a poll up yesterday about whether people cared about or took cage match seriously, and that had 156 type votes. I had
Let me ask you this, Brandon.
200.
If I went down to my local gun shop here and I said, hey, I polled and more people are Republican, do you think that would matter that I went to the gun shop to do that?
Yeah. I mean, do you go see a movie based on what someone puts on Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb, or you go watch a movie that you have interest in and make your own decisions?
I'm confident enough to
Fuck you! I checked Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just kidding.
I'm not asking you, Corey. I'm just saying, rhetorically, it's like, why are we using, other people's opinions to justify our own or to change our opinions? Why do we take something that is it falls under what's objective and what's subjective, and people don't seem to understand the difference between the two? Why are we going to take someone's subjective opinion, whether it's about a show with cage match or an actual match itself with like Dave Meltzer, and that becomes gospel, and that's what is the final say, instead of people just formulating their own opinion? And if you feel like, spreading that opinion, God bless you. But let's not use something like cage match, which is used more by AEW fans than WWE fans.
Well, WWE is different than the other wrestling promotions, right? You can't watch CMLL and WWE and say, oh, they're the exact same thing. They're clearly not.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like if I went and watched Iron Man 3 and I said, well, it's not 12 Years a Slave. Well, yeah, no. What are we doing?
Also, sorry. Can you hear me?
No, we can't.
Yeah, you're all robotic. I mean, and to your point, Corey, that falls into like something else I wanted to talk about, and is pro wrestling versus sports entertainment. People trying to like argue that they're different, but they're not. They're all the same. Sports entertainment was a term that Vince McMahon felt to coin for WWE, and people have taken now that sports entertainment name and think that that automatically changed what pro wrestling is just because WWE used sports entertainment. But
Yeah,
it's
they did that to avoid having to work with the athletic commissions.
right. He did it for it wasn't because, he hates pro wrestling. He knows what it is. It's to escape from certain, oversight. So for people to argue that, AEW is not sports entertainment or WWE is not pro wrestling, it just seems to me to be a stupid argument because it's all the same thing at the end of the day. It is serialized weekly TV with ongoing story structure that ends up into a physical match. So there literally, if you describe it that way, there is really no different between WWE and AEW in that sense. Yes, AEW will lean more towards the in-ring product. WWE concentrates more on the characters and the story. But at the end of the day, it is still the same template.
But it's not like I'm watching Iowa amateur wrestling, right?
I mean, Brandon Ace, you lean more towards AEW. Would you agree with what I just said, or you think that AEW is not sports entertainment / pro wrestling and vice versa?
Look, as a person who watches both companies most of the time, doesn't really matter because, again, at the end of the day, both companies run a predetermined sport because there are winners and losers. It's not treated like a real sport. Like, if you go to the average sports fan and they ask what pro wrestling is, they're going to say, oh, it's fake. It's not real. They're going to say that because that's how the real world works. How the internet views pro wrestling is very different from the real world. A casual fan, a casual fan would say, yeah, pro wrestling is fake. It's predetermined. It's not the UFC. It's not boxing. It's not like the other big sports because there are winners. Because you don't know who's going to win or lose in those games.
But it's
I
just,
just think I think it's a silly argument saying, oh well, WWE is not. It's like what do they think it is? Ice skating, you know? It's the products just have a different presentation.
Also, when people say AEW is true pro wrestling, I'm like, can I show you a clip of Chris Jericho and MJF doing a sing along?
Tony Storm. You're going to tell me Tony Storm is not that quote unquote sports entertainment?
And also, and I like Tony Storm, but let's be honest, that character is the reason why she got over because before she became timeless, she wasn't getting over in AEW.
Because Ed Winners got over for their 5-star matches.
Like I said, it took a character for Tony Storm. It took Tony Storm to develop a character to finally get over with the crowd. I've always said, you can be the best wrestler in the world, but if you don't have anything else that can make the crowd like you or cheer for you, yeah, you're kind of screwed. Like
It depends because you just described Ospreay.
I mean, Ospreay has actually developed his character over the years. Like, he's kind of getting better. He understands that, yeah, I'm a good wrestler, but I need a character. Like, even in New Japan, like, I enjoyed his Kingpin character back then. And I'm like, okay, like, certain wrestlers who are good, they actually do realize they need a character at some point. Because if they're trying to get to one of the two big companies, you have to find a way to stick out from the others. So you have to, I've always said, yes, the wrestling does matter, but you also need a character. You also need to find a way to talk as well. Like, you don't have to be the best promo in the world, but at least be decent at best. You don't want to be like lame, because again, if you don't have anything else to contribute outside of being a great wrestler, you're going to have a limited ceiling regardless of what company you're in.
I disagree. See, that's why I disagree with you wholeheartedly. It does the company you're in does depend a lot on if you succeed or if you don't succeed. Tony Storm's a prime example. Cody Rhodes is even a bigger example. In AEW, Cody had a ceiling because of the audience who he was appealing to, and they honestly booed him out the fucking building. To where when Cody went to WWE, his ceiling was the biggest wrestling star on the planet.
Bro, I just said when it comes to Tony, it took Tony to finally develop a character for the crowd to get over, because when she got to AEW, she wasn't really over.
But that's what I'm telling you. Timeless Tony Storm wouldn't have gotten over in WWE. I'm sorry.
I doubt that. I don't know.
They wouldn't have. They've got sponsors.
I don't know.
They would have not pushed. They would have not pushed her the way Tony would have pushed her. They would have not let her do or say half the shit she says.
Okay, that's
on WWE
true.
television, which is what got her over to said audience.
Which I do agree. I kind of agree with that point, because AEW's programming is PG-14, while WWE
is PG. There's good. You know how many
understand.
You know how many different promos Tony Storm would not be allowed to cut, and you would have to take out of the timeless lore because of the sexual innuendos, the chin up, tits out, and watch out for the shoe. You don't want little kids saying that shit. Like, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, don't get me wrong, Cody was the American Nightmare first in AEW. He was not as over in AEW the same way he was over in WWE.
Well,
you want to know why? Because
just...
Kenny Omega was that guy in terms of AEW, and the guy that everyone loved and wanted to that specific audience. No matter how much of a top guy Cody wanted to be, he would never be more over than Kenny.
And
that's not a fact.
And that also falls into the whole MJF conversation about going to WWE, that a lot of people think that he's going to be, cut off at the knees for his character that he's in AEW, because he's not going to be allowed to say the things he says in AEW and WWE.
I mean, it depends on how creative you can be in the nuance and getting around the restrictions, right?
I was just, like I said, rebutting to the point Brandon tried to say, because environment does play a factor on if you get over to an audience or not. I think MJF would, before the bad booking started to affect his value and the absences, I would say MJF could thrive in both environments, but the fact that MJF is pretty much a part of the AEW vision and has changed his mindset on things and is just, going to sap Tony for as much money as possible. And he's too used to the AEW comfort to where he doesn't want to go somewhere that would restrict him or structure him.
There is one thing that MJF would have going for him if he went to WWE, and that is the talent he'd have to work with at the top.
I think MJF could work with anybody in WWE. I think, and like I said, before the couple years of bad booking and all these matches and all this shit he's done as of recent memory, I would have thought he'd still thrive over there, even under the restrictions. But now, I don't know.
Well, what talent do you think an AEW could use the WWE style then?
Takeshita. Takeshita and Fletcher, get them the fuck out of here.
I don't know about I doubt that, because when it comes to
Takeshita is a younger, better version of Nakamura.
But when it comes to Japanese males in WWE, it's kind of hard. When it comes to females,
they pushed Nakamura. Man was a world champion. Man main evented WrestleMania.
But he didn't win the world title. He never won the top belt.
I thought he did win He did win a world title.
He had the match with
He did it.
AJ beat him.
Yeah, he didn't beat AJ. AJ beat this guy.
No, AJ did beat him. Okay, he had a world title match at Mania. That's what it was. Okay.
When he won the Royal Rumble.
He probably would have. Remember, he dropped John Cena on.
That was 2017.
Oh, it's the U.S. title. I remember.
Yeah, he's won the He's only won. He's been a tag champion, Intercontinental champion, and U.S. champion.
NXT champion multiple times.
Yeah, NXT.
That's true.
Like, he's never, when it comes to treating Japanese male talent WWE, it's kind of like hit or miss when it comes to female talent on the Japanese side of WWE. There kind of are. It's more hits than misses.
I don't know. I feel like Takeshita would fit perfectly in WWE.
I don't know about that because I think Takesha's like I said, I didn't like the fact that Takeshita lost another big match against Moxley because again, why does Moxley need the Continental title if he's going up against
Takeshi's
Will at Dynasty?
Listen, Takeshi's done in AEW.
I don't.
This guy 3 years ago beat Kenny Omega twice.
And Chris Jericho as well. When Chris Jericho had value at the time.
And Fletcher had the same problem. They're just stuck at the
3
same spot.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Brandon. That was 3 years ago, and they've done nothing with him. They treated Moxley more important when he was IWGP Heavyweight Champion.
Well, I feel like they're gonna have Takeshita versus Okada at All In for the international title.
Go ahead and do that. It's not like anyone's gonna really give a shit.
It's gonna be 6 months too late.
I mean, fair. I still don't get why Moxley needed the Continental belt at this point. Like, what is it for?
Well, you got to justify his salary that you're paying him, right? Moxley's going to be bigger names, but you can't like what you're paying Moxley. You can't book him in an opening match.
I don't know. So hold on. I have a quick question for Brandon, and if anyone else wants to chime in on this, y'all are more welcome to. But like, do you feel like Tony's been extreme since 2 weeks before Revolution? Do you think Tony has been doing a shit ton of fucking hot shotting, or is it just me?
What do you mean by that?
Giving away pay-per-view matches and title changes on free television to set up other shit and big matches that you could actually build to, just giving them away on the pay-per-view, a la Omega and MJF.
We kind of have to right now, DJ.
I think
Just did Swerve. They did Swerve and Omega twice in the past month. On free television.
I have noticed that.
Look, my biggest issue was Swerve versus Omega. Why wasn't that the main event of Dynamite? Like, why did it have to be Darby versus Royce? Because I'm like, I feel like that would have made more sense.
Because they wanted. Because I'll give you the answer. Because they wanted to do the Omega MJF segment. That's why they had it open.
I mean, you
They got that all the way.
for next week.
I'm just saying, but I'm saying that's why they did it. But to DJ's point, it almost is WCW like in the fact that they're more concerned with the ratings grab than they are building towards their pay-per-view.
Well, you got to think about it this way. You've got Paramount coming in. It's pretty much assumed they're going to get WBD at this point. You don't want to have low ratings going into that, so you've got to do everything possible.
No, I agree. I don't know how to, like, I'm not really trying to judge the hot shotting yet because it's been working for the most part, but it's also had its share of misses too. And, like, I feel like he's running through all of MJF's opponents now immediately and just, like, well, who's gonna be left for you feel me? By the time we get to All In,
I think. I'm gonna say this. I think MJF might end up losing the belt probably, because I do think at Dynasty, MJF might retain the title, but it might be through screwy means, which will ultimately lead to another rematch between them at Double or Nothing. Omega wins the belt, and I think at All In Wembley, it's going to be Ospreay versus Omega.
I agree with that, and I think
Wow, like we haven't seen that match 3 times.
That's the big match you can have at Wembley. That's the biggest match. Because you have to give, because again, at this point, Ospreay, it's now or never to put the world title on Ospreay at Wembley. Got to do it now. And what's the big match? Him and Omega.
I agree.
It's creative malpractice if they take that belt. MJF's actually got those ratings up right now. Just to take the belt off of him. Like, that would be a lol cow moment if they just took the belt off him. Said, oh, we're going to do a dream match with Omega and Ospreay.
And isn't Andrade going for the world title as well?
Yes, but he's also chances are probably going to be leaving the Don Callis family
And,
because
and Darby as well just made a challenge for the world title too, like a week ago.
But at least they're building contenders for the world title. That's a good thing.
Right, but
Yes, and Hangman's no longer in the picture.
my worry, what I'm worried about with MJF is when he loses that title, because he's not getting to London with the title. Whether it's a Dynasty or Double or Nothing, they're gonna do Ospreay against Omega because that is the biggest match. It's like, where does MJF go from there once he drops the title? And to Corey's point, ratings are up under MJF. So what's more important? TK, blowing his load on what he feels is a dream match, or sticking with the guy who's showing that he's proving to be a winner and bringing things up.
So I think you've got to go Ospreay to MJF because they had a match. They had a match at Wembley a couple years ago, but I think that's who you got to have Ospreay.
Right, but we haven't seen Ospreay against Omega for like I guess it would be like 5 years. I think it was Forbidden Door 2021. So it's not like it's a match we've seen, and it's never
Forbidden Door 2023.
But it was never under AEW. Ospreay
But
was
right
still,
now, MJF's the most interesting thing on that
right.
show.
But I'm just
They've
saying.
got the ratings way up.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying with Ospreay versus Omega, it's never been done fully under Tony Khan's control. At the time they did Omega versus Ospreay, it was a forbidden door. So, he still had to work with New Japan because Ospreay was New Japan at the time. So he's never had to put the match under his full control, almost like he did with Okada and Omega last year. He wanted to get that New Japan match under AEW where he was fully in control of the creative. So I think for Tony that's just too much to resist.
Hold on, Brandon Ace, hold on. Hub had his hand up, and then you could go after.
I'm sorry, in 2026, MJF Ospreay is the bigger match. This is not a few years ago. MJF is their biggest star right now. He is their biggest heel right now. He's probably the biggest heel in wrestling right now. Will Ospreay is probably their most over baby face they have right now. That includes Kenny Omega. So, I'm sorry, you could do Ospreay Omega sometime later in the year if you really want, but the money match right now for them, especially having to do a critical time this summer, because usually the summer builds between SummerSlam and All In, all that and stuff, the attention for everything. MJF Will Ospreay is more compelling to week television for AEW than Omega Ospreay would be. Especially since Omega is hanging on by a thread right now with his body.
Honestly, so you want to hear my opinion on how you can honestly fix that and get a bigger match than both? Do a 3-way. AEW doesn't run big title 3-way matches that often. They don't abuse it the same way WWE has abused it the past few Manias and years. So if they did it somehow, if Tony was able to get creative and find a way to where you could get Omega, Ospreay, and MJF in that main event, is what will draw you money.
I doubt it, but hey, it can happen. But again, I think they're gonna go with Ospreay versus Omega because if you think about it, we gotta be honest with ourselves. The pendulum for WWE and AEW is changing in the direction of AEW. And
wait, time out. In what way?
I'm just saying the ratings are going up, and I'm saying, like DJ said, if All In is able to sell more tickets than each combined WrestleMania, that is going to change the perception for AEW. And one thing about WWE they do not like is to lose that perception. That's the one thing that WWE doesn't want to do is lose that
I'm with Brandon Ace on this one. He's right, like a motherfucker, in terms of interest for AEW has been going up for the most part. The only thing that's not up for them is the YouTube clips, they're pretty much stable at the same point they were last year, and nobody watches the Collision clips. The Collision clips literally get 16K.
Okay, so interest is up. So we're going to do this.
Also,
Why are they 14,000 behind on ticket sales right now as compared to when they were last time in Wembley?
again, it's taking more. It's going to take more time. It's still early.
I can at least come to the defense for them on this one. The law of diminishing returns.
Which WWE's going through right now too. WWE's behind by about 12,000.
Like
AEW's behind by about 14,000.
Like again, I'm going to say this. What do you think is going to sell more tickets at Wembley? Ospreay versus MJF or Ospreay versus Omega? Because those London fans are wrestling fans. They love their wrestling.
MJF should
MJF.
run with it. MJF.
MJF.
MJF is the guy that's got you these higher ratings. Like, what? It would be creative malpractice to say, you know what? Thanks, MJF. We're just going to take the belt off of you.
I get it, but I do think that All In is going to be Omega versus Ospreay at Wembley.
I'd bet you $1,000 it's MJF.
That would be, no offense, you have nothing for MJF.
But hold on, real quick. I just want to rebut to something Corey did say. The only thing I would say the difference between WrestleMania and their diminishing returns is WrestleMania is more of a one-time-a-year event like the Super Bowl, to where the Super Bowl is going to draw no matter what because it's the name of the event per year. It's not going to suffer from diminishing returns that much. In most cases. Except for this year for WrestleMania, for some reason, they're definitely diminishing those returns.
Because they went to the same
Twice in the same place, so they don't have to build two sets.
Exactly, they're in the same city. That's back to back. That's why.
Which is a problem.
That and the creative and everything in WWE right now down.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
So I'll see you guys later. I gotta get back to work. Probably watch probably catch the replay of most of the show.
Thank you for stopping in, but that's what I think would be the difference for right now in terms of the draw for each. To where they've done Wembley 3 of the past 4 years. They took 1 year off of Wembley. Again, I don't think they're gonna crack more than 40K, and that's including like all the people that comp and shit towards the end. I think the walk up is going to be actually pretty huge for AEW, because I think that's not just a trend for AEW, that's a trend for all wrestling fans right now. They know the tickets are going to be cheaper close to the show time because they're trying to desperately fill those seats. So I think wrestling fans, especially the fans that are going to the shows now, are smart enough to realize that they don't have to buy them immediately unless they know they're getting the good seats. If they just want to go to the event, they're going to wait till last minute, get paid the good prices, especially if they have to fucking travel, because a lot of people are going to travel to that show. I can see at least 7,000 to 8,000 people traveling from the U.S. to the U.K. for that show. So, I think in terms of both of their drawing power, it is a bit different because, again, WrestleMania has a lot more name and notoriety to it than All In. But that's my argument. Or rebut.
But they don't have to sell more than 40K if they're going to beat Mania. Because I promise you, Mania is probably going to drop 50K on both nights.
Oh, 100%. They
pay for it, but
back-to-back 50K. They would have to do 50K again.
I think they're going to get 50K, to be honest with you.
No. Oh, hell no. Fuck no.
I think they will, depending on what the card looks like. I think it's on the table 50K there.
I don't think that. I think they may barely break 40. They won't break more than 45.
But like for people comparing the ticket sales right now, they don't have a match announced right now.
And
Last year, the All In
5
Texas
months away.
tickets went up as soon as a match was announced, which was Moxley Hangman. Ticket sales went up. People started buying because they knew what they were tuning in for. So I feel we're probably like a month out, and it's not looking good. Okay, then we can sit there and be like, okay, they're gonna struggle ticket sales wise. But it seems to be with AEW, once that main event match is made after Double or Nothing, that's when they start selling tickets.
So like, here's the only so in the terms of looking at it numbers wise and logistically, that means before a month out they would have to sell at least 30K tickets in order to have a 20K walk up, which could be doable for Wembley with all the European travel. But I also think the law of diminishing returns is affecting AEW right now, and the past few years of them killing their interest is definitely starting to bite them in the ass. They are getting somewhat hot this year though too, so it depends on if they can keep some of this goodwill they have going. I mean, they're definitely losing a lot of it with some of these shows and some of these segments and some of these stories, but they are doing better than what they were. The past 2 years have been fucking abysmal. So it's really hard to not do worse than that. Brandon, you've been quiet.
I think they're going to at least match 2024 at Wembley, which was, I believe, like 48, between 48 and 50K. I think you're going to have, like, last year for Texas, there was, I think in that last week, they had almost 10,000 tickets, if I remember correctly.
Be careful with that. They actually came out, it was about 18,000. Those numbers were way inflated. They tried to put a gag order on the state of Texas.
No, I'm talking about how much was sold in that last week, not the total amount. I know that they wanted it, they were trying to make it that it was almost 30, but it was actually like more like 21. But I'm talking about that last week of ticket sales leading up to the event. There was a lot of, to DJ's point, or I don't know, I think it was DJ. A lot of people wait to that last couple of weeks because they know the prices are going to drop. Plus, they want to know what they're getting, and I think it's easier I might be completely talking out of my ass with this, but I think it's easier to fly into Wembley than it is to like book a hotel in Vegas.
Right, easily. Yeah, Vegas is so expensive now that.
So I think that's against WWE in that sense, is the fact that, if someone's going to wait to the week of Mania to buy a ticket and then, try to fly in, you're going to be paying expensive airfare. You're not going to find a hotel. So, it's like, it's a lot easier to, wait to that last week for Wembley. But, again, let's see when they announce the main event, Once that main event is announced, then we got to look at the ticket sales. And they still have 5 months to go till the end of August.
Oh, no. Like I said, I think 40K is actually being generous and saying the law of diminishing returns isn't going to hit them as hard as it did after them doing the first time at Wembley. I think if they do 50K, not only will I be shocked and have to eat some fucking crow, if they do 50K, that means they definitely beat out either night of WrestleMania, because neither night of WrestleMania is going to get above 50K at this point.
Not legitimately, no. They'll announce it. They'll announce it, but it won't be legitimate.
No, but that's what I'm saying. WWE is right now at 37, 38K for both nights.
I think they actually crossed 40 for each night.
You know what I mean? And with the notoriety of WrestleMania, I don't think they're doing a 10K walk-up. So we're going to sit here and say AEW has the potential, and All In's that much of a bigger brand right now to do a 20, 30K walk-up?
I think it's because it's the UK, though. I think that's the thing. I think UK is so hungry for, North American wrestling. So, yeah, I think that they could do that. Especially if it's a card that really is going to, blow people away.
Like I said, I don't think saying 40K is trying to do any bad or not justice to AEW. I just think, the law of diminishing returns is going to hit them hard. They went from 81K to 49, 51K. And me saying, all right, they're only going to lose 8K from their last time at Wembley, just because they haven't had a good few years, and they're just now starting to regain interest. I think my argument isn't that, not logical. And like I said in the initial point that you repeated, wrestling fans are now trained to know, wait till closer to the show, month out, then start buying tickets, booking, and making your plans, because that's when everything's going to be at its cheapest.
And I think it's time to take a break from Wembley for All In. I think you need to start, it not be a residence for All In. And you need to start going to different cities, every
You know
year.
what I would love AEW to do, Brandon? And honestly would be the best fuck you to WWE that they could do? Do All In the Tokyo Dome. Try to use that relationship with New Japan and try to use it to benefit everyone. All In from the Tokyo Dome, it would put so many people on to one of the greatest venues for wrestling in the world. It would every match would immediately get 7 stars from Dave Meltzer.
Oh yeah, of course. Before any match was announced.
You feel me? Even the pre-show, if Big Boom AJ is on that card, he's gonna have a fucking 5-star match. Okay, because it's in the Tokyo Dome.
But
go ahead. But no,
the
point I'm trying to make is, if you because I do agree they've done Wembley too much and they're slightly starting to overstay their welcome. And I think doing All In the States with WWE, starting to do their bigger events around the world and globally, they're doing Saudi Mania. If you did an All In from the Tokyo Dome, All In Tokyo, and then you can bring in all the all the New Japan talent that are coming up, and you can use it as kind of like a second Forbidden Door, except with bigger eyes. I think the only issue with that would be is the time difference. In terms
That's what I was going to say, DJ, because you're literally, I wanted to say it's about a 20-hour time difference. So, like right now, it's 7 a.m. in Japan. So a lot of your American audience is going to be like when WWE ran Perth at one time. There's like a show at 3 in the morning.
But I think AEW fans would be habitual enough to wake up that early to watch a pay-per-view.
So just give you a heads up. If it was 7 p.m., let's say, if you convert that to Eastern time, that pay-per-view would start at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Like I said,
it'd be a great visual.
It would still be I'm just saying in terms of doing it as a giant fuck you to WWE, because I know that everyone knows that's something WWE's been trying to do for years, is expand to Japan.
Yeah.
And AEW's pretty much there already. They have the partnership. Why not host one of your biggest shows in Japan? Get people to go to that show, enjoy that show, make money off of that show.
I agree with that. Back to what I was going to say, it's just that, it's you can't keep going to the same place every single year, even if it's London. And we all know that the only reason Texas got it last year was because of a Coldplay concert that was already at Wembley. Otherwise, it would have been at Wembley again last year too.
I'm just saying AEW has tried to expand its global reach to an extent. You know what I mean? In terms of where they do their shows. They've done Australia. They've done Arena Mexico a few times. They've done Wembley. It's not like I'm asking them to go do Moscow, Russia, or, you feel me? Let's go do Brazil right now, or let's go to Venezuela.
They haven't done France yet.
And
they could do something like France or Italy, started expanding to that, same way. But I feel like that's kind of dipping their shoe in the WWE pool and asking for all-out war.
And Tokyo Dome is on that list for most wrestlers for the bucket list to perform at. So, Tokyo Dome is definitely huge, and it definitely would be, it would make sense because on top of the fact, where did AEW start? Where were Cody and the Bucks and Omega standing outside of when, they got the text message about AEW? They were literally standing outside the Tokyo Dome. So it'd almost be like a full circle.
I'm just saying, and like I said, in terms of the New Japan AEW relationship, I think that would also be one of the most beneficial things they could do right now, is if they did like an all-in super American show card in Japan, featuring a lot of big New Japan talent and AEW talent. You can intermix and intermingle those stories, and you can kind of do, the invasion angle right, hopefully. Again, they've had the relationship for years. I don't know why they haven't. I know they've done a couple, like, small, like, a few AEW guys here at a big Tokyo Dome show or something, but I'm talking like a full-on, let's hold an American promotions big show in the Tokyo Dome, draw some fucking money off of it, draw some tourist interest for Tokyo and Japan, have people go there, throw on a great show, and change the perception. And like I said, it's a giant fuck you to WWE because they've been wanting to get a foothold in Japan for years.
Well, let me ask you, to Corey's point, would you think a tape delay would hurt them if they didn't air it live and they did tape delay to later in the day, kind of like they did with Australia?
It depends because half of the fucking fan base would be on Twitter.
It's okay. They wouldn't spoil it.
It doesn't matter.
I don't think they have an issue.
It doesn't matter if it was on Twitter. I think they would still watch it no matter what.
Because usually they have people on that AEW streaming service who are going to sign up for VPNs and have access to it.
So
I mean, yeah, maybe the dirt sheets don't leak it, but you can't control every fan from talking about it.
So I have a question here, food for thought. Assuming WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia goes on as planned, would it be smart for AEW to potentially move All In up and take what would have been WrestleMania weekend in the States and make it their attempt to take that weekend over in the States with a lot of other independent promotions and stuff, and you'd get more willing travelers to your event than people going to Saudi Arabia as their attempt to finally see if they can sell a stadium in the U.S.
I asked this initially when the Saudi Mania got announced, and I think JJ said something back of the respect of it would be one of the smarter things to do. My only thought to that was it would get them a foothold on the weekend and get them, to be a competitor against WrestleMania on their biggest weekend of shows, blah, 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 in their home country. But I also don't think WWE would allow that to go on for long. You know what I mean? I think if they pulled a bold enough move like that, I don't think like the shots we've been seeing between WWE and AEW, like I said, the shit we see now is child's play compared to the all-out war that these companies can really go into.
I would, to Hub's question, I would go with an event. I don't know if I would risk the all-in name though, because
move up Double or Nothing.
Right, but I'm fine. But I'm saying because if it does fail for some reason, then you're really putting a black mark on that all-in name. So I don't know if that's something that that TK would want to roll the dice on. Do you know what I mean by that? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but at that point, you kind of have to figure out what you are in terms of what's your popularity in your home country at this point. Because you could sell out Wembley. They don't get American wrestling. You could sell out Australia, kind of. Yeah, you could probably sell out Japan. You could sell all these international places. Canada, too. But what are you in the U.S., your own home base? And I feel like Mania weekend next year, assuming it's still in Saudi Arabia, which I don't think it's going to be at this point, but let's say it is, I feel like that's your best chance to gauge the interest in the American wrestling fan and a lot of people that fly in for like WrestleCon, all these, and Joey Janela fighting probably next year, 8-year-old kid, an ECW legend fighting probably a blow-up doll, all that kind of shit. And you make it that what the original All-In was, which was the independent all-star weekend. They took over that whole place in Chicago that weekend. You had Starcast, you had a couple independent events, and it all ended up with All In, the first All In. So they took over that whole weekend, Labor Day weekend in Chicago. I think now they have to see if they can do it in the U.S. at a bigger stadium than Texas, because Texas in July was suicidal. Is Hawes balls down there. So let's see what you are. You're not going to have WWE counter programming you because they're not going to run a Saudi Arabia event at 8 o'clock at night our time.
No,
NXT, no offense, NXT's so fucking bad right now. No one's tuning into them over you. So
I mean, if they do a state, there's obviously one stadium Tony can do that he happens to fucking own.
I think they're in the middle of rebuilding it still. I think they'll be still rebuilding at that point.
Well, it's either Jacksonville or New York.
No,
honestly.
you do California. Where'd they have Mania? Where Seth Rollins jumped in?
San Francisco, California in July sounds wild.
What July? WrestleMania is in April.
No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking in terms of traveling. In terms of travel, it's a lot easier to travel to New York than it is to travel to California.
I think they should try Philly.
Or I don't know.
Philly or Chicago. Go with an actual hotbed for wrestling.
I wouldn't do Chicago because they run Chicago enough throughout the year, and I don't think it's as big as a hotbed as a New York or a Florida would be, especially around that time of year when people are traveling for vacations, trying to do. Like I said, New York is a good place to do it because you're getting people who can travel all over the world know where New York is and know easy ways to get in and out of New York. Florida would be a good backup plan because it's your home base and you own a fucking stadium.
Where are you gonna go? Try to go bigger than a baseball stadium?
I think you could do
Citi Field.
Citi Field, maybe Yankee Stadium. I don't think you're getting MSG, or else I'd do that.
But
Yeah,
MSG,
no, they're not. They could get the Barclays.
You get the Barclays, or that's a shot at Triple H. That's where NXT first had their first giant event.
But could they though? Is there exclusivity with WWE when it comes to Barclays and MSG?
Not the Barclays, but definitely MSG.
I think with MSG, yes. I don't think with Barclays, because using an example here in Boston, AEW has run the Garden plenty of times. They've run it 3 times already, and they're probably going to run it one more time whenever they decide to give Boston a pay-per-view.
But aren't you also want to go bigger? So why would you go limit yourself to like a Barclays or even an MSG?
Because it's the name. I feel like the name would carry, regardless if it's like
if to your
I
point,
think attendance-wise, like you want to aim for a Citi Field or a Yankee Stadium, or if you want to go maybe a little bigger, you can try. I wouldn't do MetLife because I don't think you're getting that.
To your point in Philly, I don't think you run the link. I think you're better off trying Citizens Bank.
I think you could run a college football stadium at
Bitch, you're only saying Philly because you want to fucking go.
No, he brought up Philly. I didn't bring up.
I brought up Philly. I think
I'm
you can
just
do
saying, you're only speaking good things about Philly because you want to go.
What good things? I literally just compared 2 stadiums. I didn't say anything good.
I mean, Philly has some.
Philly's in my hometown.
Yeah, you could do. There's plenty of college football stadiums in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, but you want to. I mean, unless you go in Pittsburgh, you still got to stay at a major. In a major city, you can't go in the middle of.
Field.
You can't.
I mean, you'd be pretty ballsy to do Penn State, but like.
So.
He has, but like that weekend, I think they should honestly consider moving Double or Nothing up or moving All In up. Or maybe you move Forbidden Door up.
Forbidden Door needs to go. First off,
there's no point for Forbidden Door at this point.
at
They
this,
killed New Japan and everyone that.
Hold on, real quick, Hub. You gotta fix your mic.
yeah, you're all staticky
Get
and
some
robotic.
feedback.
But yeah, it's real quick. Forbidden Door, they need to rename that shit. It's dead. There's no more Forbidden Door unless you're doing AEW versus CMLL, because there's really no one in New Japan at this point that is big enough to like warrant a Forbidden Door. But that's a different conversation.
I'll be going to Monday Night Raw on May 18th. I fucking hope Roman Reigns wins that belt so I can see him. But I'll take CM Punk because I've never seen him live before.
To be fair, just because Roman wins the belt, he still may not show up.
I know there's a chance he may not show up.
Okay, you may not
Why
see
is
it.
that?
Even if he wins the belt, you may not see him till SummerSlam.
Fuck, he's not even gonna show up after that.
Hold on. If Roman does win the belt, though, the greatest thing ever, I think, to do after Mania is have Braun Breaker return, spear the shit out of him, and make a statement.
And then have the match. But wait a minute. Now, this is a question. Ask you a question. If Roman wins the belt, would you want to run CM Punk and Roman Reigns back at Backlash?
No, fuck that. I hope if CM Punk loses, he needs to be out in a fucking stretcher and not be seen for months.
Honestly, Matt, you run it in Clash at Italy. You don't run it at Backlash.
All right, I'm just saying because Backlash was always the rematch pay-per-view.
Right.
That's where they run it back.
But I'm just saying you also want a big match to sell Italy. Your first time going to Italy.
That's a good point too.
I mean, you have 3 straight weeks of events. You have Sunday main event, Italy, and Backlash.
And
That sounds good to me.
DJ, to your mention about Braun Breaker, I actually think he's going to be showing up on Monday. I think he's going to be one of the mask guys in Seth's little group, and I think Seth's going to go after Heyman, and that the mask guy's going to spear him, unmask, because then I think we're getting that Mania match.
So you think Braun Breaker has been healed from his hernia?
I think they know he's supposedly been in the PC working out. You don't go to the PC unless you're about ready to return. So I think we're getting that match at Mania. They may not announce it till the week of, but and it's MSG. I think they want to go big with MSG. I think Breaker returning to spear Seth at MSG on Monday. I think that's a big get.
Where's my fucking vacuum? That would be a great setup. I hope Braun Breaker is healed because that is the match that needs to happen. Because ever since last year, they've been building up to Braun Breaker being at WrestleMania, and it would suck if he missed it because of fucking injury.
Well, he's been at WrestleMania before.
Well, Intercontinental Champion, but I mean, like, main event. He was supposed to wrestle one of the big guys, and the original main event was going to be Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns until that fucking injury stopped all the plans.
No, but I'm saying, though, you can still keep those plans and just change them up a bit. So have Roman beat Punk in some type of fashion where Punk's hospitalized, brutalized, and you don't see him for a few months.
And then his next challenger is Braun Breaker.
You bring Braun Breaker back the Raw after Mania, spear Roman. You use that to build up Backlash. The way you protect Braun at Backlash, you have Seth start to go after Braun and cost him his match, and ironically help Roman keep his title. So when it get down to the line after Braun and Seth finish their thing, you can do, hey, Roman, you owe me a title shot because I'm the one who helped you keep your fucking belt in the first place.
And you could finally do Roman Seth at SummerSlam.
You get what I'm saying? So at least you still keep those stories and interweave shit in between that. And you're not, and then Clash at Italy, you could do Punk and Roman as a rematch, have Punk lose that one. And you know what? Then you can
I get what
at least interweave shit, and you can do shit interestingly.
Yeah.
Or interestingly, Jesus.
I got a Mania question for all of y'all.
Yes.
WrestleVotes reported that Gunther is still going to have a significant part at Mania. What is it?
I have no fucking clue.
Having his thumb up Triple H's ass.
Here's what he should do. He should issue an open challenge, and he should fight either Rob Van Dam or Bubba Ray Dudley.
Oh, okay, Bully. You stole Bully's idea.
Well, he has a good idea.
It's not a good idea.
But I have
He
to
really had an
respect
idea to
it's a
book
good
himself in
idea.
a mask. Yeah, that's a great idea.
First off, Bully's
I would
retired
say give
already.
Gunther something to do. Just re-retire Bubba Ray.
Honestly, at this point, you put him against LA Knight. Both guys have no direction, so just put them against each other.
Or, okay, I have a very stupid idea, but it's my only way. I'm pretty much desperate to get him on WrestleMania. Have the Usos versus Logan Paul and Austin Theory for the tag titles, and have LA Knight be the referee.
Yeah, but why
No.
have him be a special referee when you could put him in a match with Gunther?
Well, but what's the story with him and Gunter?
Not
like,
every,
LA
you know
Knight's
what,
not
though?
retiring.
Not every match Gunther has, it has to be to retire somebody. You can't pigeonhole the guy simply because you're doing a career killer. That's like it's like saying when Randy Orton was doing his
Legend killer
gimmick that you're only going to make him fight legends, and that wasn't the case.
And oh, really? It wasn't? Because I always thought because he fought Kamala, Hulk Hogan, he fought most of those.
Right, but
legends.
not every match. Yeah, they led to certain matches, but the bigger matches on pay-per-view weren't just against legends. The whole point is you can't pigeonhole a guy because you decide to give him a gimmick that he can only do one thing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And
Yeah.
Gunter, the toughest thing is how the fuck do you bring back the original Imperium Gunter without burying the career killer gimmick? Because I don't want to bury him, but at the same time, you have to bury him so he can come back to life as Imperium Gunter, the one from NXT UK.
I just think if you're gonna you have nothing for LA Knight, you got nothing for Gunther, just do something.
Throw him in a match.
Have
Which is what you can do with Royce Keys. Now we're back to Royce Keys.
Powerhouse Hobbs. Well, I think he's going to debut after WrestleMania. He's going to be, the after WrestleMania debut, like they did Sin Cara, Brock Lesnar,
like I said,
Tensai.
which is what I've been saying. Let me ask this in conjunction with Mania: if they can't do Saudi Mania, where does WrestleMania go next year?
London.
New Orleans?
New York.
We're going back to Vegas, baby.
Let's go to London. I want to go to London.
Fuck it, I'm with Hub. Let's do Vegas 3 years in a row. Let's press our luck.
Do you think if they try to go to New Orleans gonna be like, no thanks?
You never
Fuck
know.
no.
But New Orleans
no.
was the original plan, but then
Right, for this year. And
I think it'd be Indianapolis, but they got to make decisions soon because most of these stadiums and stuff, you kind of got to get this out like almost a year in advance, or else they start booking like major concerts and shit.
maybe they'll just build their own stadium like they did for the Royal Rumble.
Sure, then go back to the PC.
Because at some point, New Orleans got to feel a certain way, and if you're going to be like, the third choice because you can't do Saudi, I'd be a little miffed if I was them.
Damn well we get in Vegas, but that's true.
So hold on. So while I'm just gonna kill some time here for a second, I just remembered something Brandon sent me that I said I wanted to talk about on the show this week that I just now remembered off the top of my head. So Vince Russo went on his stupid fucking podcast, and I only saw this shit because Brandon sent it to me. I don't listen to this shit because he's a moron.
What did he say this time?
I'll tell you what your father said. So Vince Russo said wrestling fans are so uncool. No one who likes wrestling is cool. But the fans at JCW, they're just so cool. First of all,
Get the fuck out of here.
First of all, if you're gonna sit here and say the fucking juggalos are the cool kids, I think that's where you lose all grounds of morality. Don't get me wrong, I love the Ring Rat, one of my favorite female athlete divas or whatever the fuck we're gonna call it in the industry right now.
DJ,
Okay.
do you know what she looks like? Like, do you know what her face looks like?
Yes, I do.
Are you sure about that? I have a feeling you're not looking at her face.
I look at her face sometimes. Okay. But goddamn it, she is finer than fuck. Jesus. That's what y'all should be gooning over in wrestling, okay? Women who look like that. Holy shit.
I'm gonna have to look her up because I don't watch the show, but I'm not okay. Before you all jump on me, I'm not trying to defend them because what he said was stupid, but at the same time,
No, you're obviously gonna defend him because he's the father.
Back in the day,
Go
wrestling
with this shit.
in high school, kids would be wearing DX, NWO, Suck It shirts. You know, it was awesome to love the product because Stone Cold, yet New World Order, and Sting were fucking cool. Nowadays, I'm sorry, but like when I see like people wearing like the Jey Uso or Cody, I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's the shit that you get made fun of and be called gay if you wear that. But if you wore an NWO or Stone Cold shirt or The Rock shirt, oh, you're fucking badass.
Right, but you're also talking about a 65-year-old man dictating what is cool.
Yeah, and at the same time,
You know, and saying that, JCW is cool. And the fans of JCW are cool, but every other fan of wrestling is a nerd.
oh my god.
It's shit that he says like that is the reason why he only gets like 2,000 people watching his videos and podcasts and all that other shit. Cause and why he just says dumb shit like this because it trends on other shit for people pointing out and saying, look what this dumb motherfucker said.
I'm gonna. You want me to play? I think I can play the audio. So you want me to play the?
Can?
So you want me to play the audio so you can hear exactly what he said?
If you can try, put it on.
Hold on.
I wish that bitch would
Bro,
copy
There,
I
hold
like
gotta
us.
tell you, man. I don't think anybody cares about wrestling anymore. Your wrestling fans, bro, are just freaking nerds, man. They're just not cool people. The whole audience. I gotta tell you, man, that's the one thing I do like about JCW. Bro, the Juggalos can be rough. They can be rough at times. And sometimes, man, I think they go a little bit over the top. But they're not these nerds, bro. There's no Sean Sapps in the crowd. There's no Hollywoods in the crowd. These are nerdy freaking people. The wrestling business is so damn uncool, bro. Even the wrestlers themselves are uncool. I swear, bro. To me, when you look at cool wrestlers today, let me tell you who I can name. Jacob Fatu is cool. Without a question of a doubt, he's cool. Logan Paul is cool. I don't consider Logan Paul a wrestler, though, but Logan Paul is cool. I think Drew is cool. Outside of that, bro, who else is cool? Who else is cool? CM Punk is cool at 50-something years old, bro. Cody Rhodes is the opposite of cool. I guess Roman Reigns would fall under the cool category. But, man, bro, it's just... Who cares? Like, I just don't think anybody cares anymore, man.
So let's get. He's shitting on CM Punk for his age, but Vince Russo at 65 is telling everyone.
Hold on. First off, who the fuck still uses the word cool? Second of all, did anyone else proceed to lose fucking brain cells the longer you listen to it? I felt like I took a hit of fucking meth and went on it.
Yeah.
His fucking voice.
Oh
he has,
my
like, that
Right now, I was putting the laugh emoji twice. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Who the fuck still you cool in 2026?
God.
Especially in this type of wrestling time. Like,
And listen,
really?
He's not my
Like, you're one of the top.
He's not my favorite person in the world, but why are you burying Sap randomly?
Wait, Seth?
Sap.
Sean's called him an idiot on multiple occasions.
Oh, it's Sean, not Seth.
Yeah, Sap, S-A-P-P.
Yeah, Seth. Sean Ross Sapp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's not. I'm not a fan of his, but like, why are you randomly burying him of all people?
And I'm sorry, like I know it's his personal opinion, but Jacob Fatu, if he was talking about 2024 MFT Fatu, then yeah, he was fucking awesome and cool. But nowadays he's not. The only ones he said that I will say is accurate is Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. They are actually awesome. They're great. But the rest, no, I'm sorry. Fatu right now, no.
So yeah, I just found it funny, especially that I sent it to DJ only because DJ is Sean's official lawyer, and there was derogatory comments towards Sean, so that's why I sent it to DJ. But Yeah, I just don't think that Vince Russo should be the one dictating what is hip and cool in 2026 and then using JCW as the barometer.
No, you want to know why he was using Shawn as an example, and he has a gem of a point in there somewhere. If you look deep enough, and you know you still have some brain cells left after listening to it, the type of fans that are glorified and the type of fans that other wrestling fans give attention to and credence to are the super fans who are the guys who sit here and buy all these championship replica belts, who goes to almost every big show that they can and travels a lot and follows the ins and outs of wrestling every day, and it's completely diehard of the diehard of to the business. And I think at least in Russo's mind, he thinks that's every fan, which no, it's not. It's not every fan. But those are the type of fans who get glorified, who gets all the attention, who all these wrestling fans try to praise and crawl and cater to. And it's just like, I feel like, at least as a wrestling fan of my own and who handles my wrestling fandom in a different way, I feel like a lot of wrestling fans definitely overdo their love of wrestling and need to diet it down a bit. Is that correct in saying?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a lot of fans that overdo it. Colin want to make his life's work to take down the media and anything associated with AEW. So yeah, there's definitely people out there that take it a little too serious and more of a job.
Not even that, but and sorry, Jameer, don't take a shot at you. I'm not taking a shot specifically at you as saying that there are people who make their whole identity and lives and their profile pictures accounts of these wrestlers, and it comes off as weird and obsessive. You know what I mean? It comes off as a subculture of a fan base. There's subsection of Liv fans, subsection of Mercedes Sasha fans, subsection of Rhea fans that literally go hard for them, and is like a little cult, like little weird cults type shit.
I mean, we had a whole list this week of the worst fan base based on a wrestler. The fact that we're even getting a top 10 list of worst stands of a wrestler.
But I'm saying those are the type of accounts that sit there you'll see with 5K followers, 12K followers, even though they're following 20K. They still have a bunch of people following them back, and there's their tweets, their mentions, and what they say gets out there for people to see.
Yep.
And since their shit is being seen more often, it's being the perception of that, oh, these are what fans are like now.
Air Gold.
You get what I mean?
Air Gold and fucking real WWE Real One.
And Brandon McNeil.
Yeah, okay.
Listen, I kind of feel a little called out with that belt. I have a glass display case with all the greatest championship belts of all time. I just took a picture of it. I have to send it to one of the group chats.
So, speaking of Sean, Huck threw this up on the board. It looks like he's getting back into it with JD.
Over what?
I don't know. I didn't see I can't listen to the video.
I listened to it. It's over the Sami Zayn winning the title spoiler from Friday. The clip from his post show and how Sean had actually backed him up with Dumb Boy. But that Sean was the one that technically reported and Russell votes and Jimmy's responsibilities. Who owns Fightful? Where did Russell votes put behind? What paywall did Russell votes put behind Fightful? Who owns Fightful? John.
Okay. Now, I wanted to bring this up, actually, that whole thing that Sami Zayn's title win was spoiled. I don't want to defend it, but there was a reason why Vince McMahon always changed scripts last minute. Because if shit got leaked, he would always change it, so that way shit wouldn't be spoiled. It would be unpredictable. But at the same time, he did it because he was senile.
Again, without listening to the clip with and not knowing all the context of it, I could probably guess and sum up what JD is saying. And he's doing probably most of his points, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, Hub, is that Sean and most of these media dirt sheets have a specific bias in what coverage they put out for certain companies. Like, they know an AEW title change is coming up on Collision from one of the Collision pre-tapes. They're not going to go out there spoiling, saying, and posting out, the spoilers. Oh, guess what? Such and such won the trios titles on Collision this week. You know what I mean? But if it was WWE, they are quick and out and about and quick with that shit.
And not just that, they have the whole rundown of the show that, the order of the show, who's coming out, what the main event is, what's opening. I don't know. Does that fall under the media picking and choosing, or does that fall under whoever's providing the information? I mean,
So what I think it is you got to understand in terms of what business that they're in. They're in the content creating business. Their job is to get clicks, likes, interest, and put out there what draws up more interest. And you got to understand WWE spoilers are a lot more interesting than AEW spoilers. Nobody's going to sit here and give a fuck about who won on Collision based on their pre-taping. The same way Sean and them don't put out pre-TNA results or shit like that, because that's not what draws the clicks. That's not what draws the likes. That's not what the business model is. So it does come off strongly as biased, and I do think Sean puts a lot of does have a specific bias towards AEW than he does WWE, because he has a better relationship with one company than another. But at the same time, I don't think he's not keeping to objectivity in terms of his coverage. He's just putting out there what's going to get more clicks. It's kind of like how a newspaper is going to keep track of the Iran war now and not really keep track of what we just did in Venezuela 2 months prior. You get what I mean?
Yeah, but you also need to, as a journalist, also be fair in your coverage as well. I understand what you're saying is, WWE's gonna get more traction. It's almost like the same of when when you post something derogatory about AEW, you get, so much interaction. But if you post something, critical of WWE, barely anyone says anything. Obviously there are things that are going to trigger people more, but I just feel that, like, it's one thing to say that, creative has plans and there's rumors that Sammy's going to win the title, but, we never saw anything about, plans for Omega versus MJF that was supposedly for months until after the match was announced.
No, I definitely get what you mean, because I do believe that I definitely not only believe Sean, but other media has the information of what Tony's doing or what Tony's plans are or what Tony's thinking about doing, because Tony wants to talk to everyone and he's a blabbermouth. Like Tony grew up on the Observer message boards. Like that's the type of crowd that he likes to cater to and talk to and get insight from. So I do agree from certain aspects, and it's not just Sean, because I know he's the main issue of the fucking thing, but that most of the wrestling media as a whole, outside of a PW insider, do come off as going after certain coverage, protecting AEW from certain coverage where they would castrate WWE if they did the same thing. And I do call that out time to time. I don't sit here and, try to defend motherfuckers, including Sean, when they do that shit, because it's not right or true. But I do also understand at the same time, looking at shit objectively, it's a business model. And MJ brought it up in the last show, I think, when he was here, that, this is all a business model at the end of the day. This is what they do to make their money and draw up interest for what they do. And at the end of the day, most of these guys who are wrestling media or doing all this other shit, covering wrestling, they're doing it as content creators, not as journalists, not as reporters. They're doing it to create content.
Well, do you also think it might also fall under the way that WWE does things with having scripts that maybe AEW doesn't have, that is so exposed that someone couldn't report it to one of the media outlets? I mean, we know, how much WWE has everything down to a T, and that's why we get, the breakdown and the run sheets that we see, the information coming out for like a Raw and a SmackDown. Maybe AEW doesn't have that like completely plastered out, all over the place on run sheets for it to be reported back to these media outlets. So maybe the information isn't as open to get to as under WWE. Because we really
I definitely do. I do think that does play a factor too, as well.
Because we really don't know how Tony formats and puts together his shows and his creative meetings and whatever it might be. Like we pretty much know how WWE runs things. Well, for years we know it, we've seen it. There's Unreal, all this stuff, but we really don't know the process for AEW, how they come to shows. I mean, we're at times that we see Tony tweeting out matches, within an hour before Dynamite or Collision. So, I'm just wondering if it also has to do with how open WWE has become with, the backstage, that it's so much easier for these things to get reported as opposed to AEW. Maybe, while everyone in WWE might have a copy of, the format sheet, maybe with AEW, it's only Tony, the commentators, and a few selects. So maybe it's not as accessible.
So, ignore who posted it here, but there's an example of Fightful posting a spoiler from a pre-taped Collision. Once again, ignore who posted it. But there is an example of Fightful doing a spoiler on a Collision, but people are comparing that and the Sami Zayn stuff. It's completely different. The Sami Zayn thing didn't even happen yet. And it was getting spoiled. The Collision change when you kind of had, it was spoiled regardless if you said anything or not, because later on that night we got the Powerhouse Hobbs is leaving AEW and reported. So it was pretty clear regardless if it's spoiled or not. But there is technically an example out there of Fightful doing a spoiler on an AEW page.
But that's also my argument when I saw the thing with Tama Tonga, that he got fined. And people are saying that, Tama Tonga got fined, but meanwhile WWE is, has Unreal. But the stuff that Tama Tonga put on social media was, them practicing before the show even started, whereas Unreal, it's months later, after the event has happened. So there is definitely, there's a difference between the two, whether it's, something that's being reported after the fact as opposed to prior to the show even airing. So, the nuance of the gray area is definitely there.
That is fucking hilarious. You use that verbiage with Hub, whose tweet Hub shared.
I can't,
because there's always a gray area.
I can't even get to it. I only see 2 on the board, so I don't know.
Then I'm gonna just leave the idiot in suspense and tell you tomorrow.
Oh, I think probably because I haven't blocked. Maybe that's why.
But yeah, I forgot which point I was just about to make now because I was distracted. My joke. I feel like there was something else we had to talk about.
Well, I think the other thing you wanted to mention, the thing that brought your day up the other day.
Oh no, fuck that. I wasn't gonna bring that up.
Oh, okay.
Good.
I shared it in the group chat. Everyone saw it. I gave them one of their biggest viewed spaces ever. They're welcome.
It was. It really was. There was a lot. But hold on.
It's because I sent it to fucking everyone. And said, yo, You guys got to see
That-
DJ vindicated because everything I've said in the past and
Right.
shit that they said publicly that I already knew verbatim in the background was fucking perfect.
We literally have gone through everything that you and I discussed that we were going to talk about today. So I guess unless anyone has anything they want to add or talk about, I think that's going to wrap it up for today.
There is one thing that's been catching fire in the last few days.
Oh, go ahead.
Tiffany Stratton.
Oh, is it this about her going Hollywood by
She's
third?
going to Hollywood.
You had the Hollywood comment followed by the swanton that made Julia piss herself. It now looks like a lot of people are now jumping off the Tiffany Stratton train.
Well, I think.
I mean,
go ahead. Well, I'm just going to add to what he's talking about is, a lot of people are saying that it doesn't look like she's invested anymore. And, so that's part of, a lot of the discussion. And now she put something out how by 30 she wants to be in Hollywood and stuff like that. So, I saw some of that. I didn't think it had that much traction, but it kind of.
This is the risk you pull when you do these NIL signings. Tiffany Stratton was an NIL kind of person. She came from wrestling, was kind of a last option kind of thing. She went, got trained, and then did WWE. But that's kind of the risk you get from bringing in these former D1 athletes who aren't going to make it big wherever their profession is. Like, you can tell just based off the last, I'd go probably since at least SummerSlam, that Stratton in ring and in total has just gone downhill.
I would say I think the reason why people are coming at her is just because I do agree it does seem she has less interest in the game now that she's basically pretty much been at the top and gotten her moments and has had the glory. And WWE is the place where a lot of people, always use it to venture somewhere else, a la a Jake Cargill or, Cody and Punk, more Cody than Punk. But no, I didn't see anything negative about it, but I seen the thing and I was like, oh, I knew something was going to come out of it when I saw it. Because I'm like, oh, here we go. Oh, hold on. Actually, let's do some promos for Trivia Mania real quick while we're here, because Jet's here. Jet, the story will be finished. One of your opponents is right here. He like you had to have the game handed to him on a silver fucking platter.
No, don't just make it like that. Let's put a little bit of nuance behind it. Put some nuance behind it.
Oh man, really?
No. There's a big
He
difference.
Oh man, Brandon talked all that shit.
No. See?
He talked all that shit.
No, what happened? Tell him the real story, DJ. Don't just make it as simple.
I'll tell him the whole fucking story.
Don't make it as simple. Don't make it as simple. Wait, let me finish.
Brandon, let me tell the whole fucking story.
Let me just say this before you tell the story.
The last round.
Wow, Brandon.
He was up by 10. And JJ, in the last round, I made it into a super round pretty much on purpose when I made the game. And JJ got 54 points in one round. And pretty much took the game right up under from Brandon because he missed one NWA champion.
But then
Brandon almost lost.
But hold on, I'm finishing the story. So JJ won the game, but then realized he couldn't go because he couldn't make Trivia Mania because he's going to WrestleMania. So we did a tiebreaker between Grim and Brandon. They had to do a guess the champ, and JJ had the champion up, and he gave them the guess, and Brandon got it on a gimme from JJ.
It wasn't.
That's gross.
Win.
That's gross.
You didn't win.
I did win.
See,
The person.
Look how God works. Talk all that shit. Then you got the win handed to you.
First off, it wasn't handed to me because I got the tiebreaker question. No one just handed me points because they
No,
felt
yeah,
bad
yeah,
for
no.
Jet.
What do you call somebody winning a match, then saying, "Oh, I can't make it, so I'm gonna give it to somebody else"?
I cashed in my money in the bank.
See,
You should have been another match.
At least I got another fair shot.
It took
So-
you 3 times. 3
It took me-
times.
No, it didn't. No,
And then you were
DJ
given, and then Awful gave you his points. He
DJ
argued to
he
give
didn't
you
took me 3
points.
times to make it. It took me like 1 time. I reapplied once and got it. It didn't take me 3 fucking times.
Oh,
No,
twice.
no,
I'm sorry,
not-
twice.
Not twice, once. I lost
Bullshit.
one
It was
game.
yeah. So you had a second opportunity. That's twice.
Whatever you and you had another chance to make it too. So all this shit.
I only did it. I was only on one show. You were on multiple shows. Let's get something straight.
And then second of all, don't act like I have been just begged and pleaded DJ to fucking just come back. He offered me to come back, and I came back. It wasn't like I begged and pleaded to come back, and I just like, oh my god, I lost. I accepted my L.
Jet,
Okay.
listen, I'm gonna send you the replay from last night. I want you to at least skim through towards the end of when Brandon lost and how bad he was flipping the fuck out.
I know he was mad because he wanted to be with me. He wanted to
He was
face me.
madder than shit. He had the lead going into the last round. He thought it was easy. He thought he was gonna go to easy street. Then he fucking missed the NWA champion question.
It was the trivia. It was the Trivia screw job.
And the crazy thing was, Brandon dropped when it was like 30 points on the board, and then fucking Grim and JJ are just firing back and forth, 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 back and forth.
And then you tried. Then you tried to.
That man, he wanted to face me. That's why. And so it doesn't matter. You're gonna get bitched. Fucking when the championship happens, you're gonna get bitched, and I'm gonna own you.
You ain't gonna own anything. You can't even own your own nickname. Kevin Knight owns that. You're a fucking. You're a wannabe Jet. You're a wannabe Jet. He's the actual Jet.
And y'all seen that bullshit, right? Russell Pierce gonna talk about something. The Jet has made it. No, the fuck! I didn't make it to Collision last night. That is a lie. I did not make it to Collision last night. That's a whole bunch of fucking malarkey.
DJ, is there an actual like prize, or is it just bragging rights for whoever wins?
Right now, it's just bragging rights.
There should be an actual prize. As much effort we put into this, there should be an actual prize.
What y'all want the actual prize to be? I'll make a fucking paper belt and send it to you.
Not a paper belt. I don't want that malark. I haven't had a paper belt since I was elementary. Let's say the winner. I don't know.
The winner gets their own episode of the show.
Loser loses their nickname.
I feel like there should be a stipulation purely for Brandon and Jet.
I'm telling you, loser loses their nickname. If the Jet loses, he loses the nickname.
The Jet versus yeah, fuck it. Let's do. I'm with that. Jet for the heel.
Wait, what's the stakes?
If you lose, you can't be Brandon Hill. If you lose, you can't be the Jet.
Whoever places worst between you two, and that's going to be the true barometer.
What, they're gonna lose? We have to redo our name?
Yep.
Yeah, redo our nickname.
I'm sorry, I won't do that because it's the name of the fucking show. I can't give up the heel.
But I've had like 8 rebrands. We can rebrand. It's fine.
Well, you can be DJ and Brandon. You can be the DJ and Brandon show.
Yeah, there's your face turn, DJ and face show.
I feel like that doesn't have the same.
Or if you lose, you can call yourself the Jet too. It's the DJ and the Jet show.
Right, he never said we couldn't take over the Jet.
The Jet the heel. That sounds amazing.
Jet the heel.
The heel Jet.
Anyway, we are actually going to, speaking of Trivia Mania, we're actually going to be doing a double show that day. Right after Trivia Mania, we are going to do the WrestleMania weekend DJ and heel show. So
yeah, they're going to be working overtime that day.
So I think
I got another one. Okay. So Brandon, you don't have to do that. But listen, the loser, whoever finishes, let's just say if whoever else the third person is, who is not doing jack shit, by the way. They should be promoting and just we are carrying this shit.
Listen, I'm making the final Trivia Mania group chat today, and then letting JJ know who his opponents are.
Okay, so let's say the loser. Let's say if Brendan gets more points than me, or if Brendan wins somehow, which he's not, but I have to make a post saying how Brendan is the better man.
You
But
have no
versa,
followers. No one follows you.
Hell nah.
What does that
If you
even do?
lose, no, fuck that. If you lose it and you gotta post some shit, I'm making you post the ultimate stipulation. You have to post that Brandon is smarter than CoPro. And you have to start an all-out fucking war if you lose.
Oh, please. Don't even get me started with him.
Loser joins the collective.
That will never happen.
That's not never. I would rather.
Not even that. They wouldn't let you in.
You're not English.
No, I think they'll let me in. I think. Honestly,
They're not that desperate for fucking people and content.
There you go, Brandon. You call yourself Brendan the Hope.
Oh my god.
I don't know. We have to think about something before, because bragging rights is not enough. Because I know.
Oh, he went robot.
But action on here.
Okay, just do a profile picture bit. Brandon loses, it's Dak. You lose, it's Kevin Knight.
That's fine.
I'm with that.
I'll do that for a week. That's fine. I'll change my profile picture for a week for losing a bet.
Exactly.
Okay, so wait.
If he loses, he has to have his profile as Dax. If you lose, you have to do your profile as Kevin Knight.
That's fine.
Okay. That sounds fair.
It's on. The stipulation is, Trivia Mania is going to be the greatest thing.
No. Hold on. Not just a picture of Dax. It has to be a picture of him and Dax. That one picture of them going face to face.
Shit, I can AI for them like hugging each other.
I mean, it doesn't matter. That's if it's a picture of Dax, even if it's a picture of me and Dax face to face, that's fine. And either way,
everyone ignores Cash. Cash went up to you too.
I know, but unfortunately, the big thing was with Dax, so that's what everyone loves to talk about. No one gives the love to Cash. Everyone just gives it to Dax.
But all right, so that sounds fair. Bragging rights and profile picture bit. That's locked in.
We'll air it on our socials.
On that note, I think on that note, DJ, I think we're gonna end it. We're at 2 hours and 11 minutes. Unless you got something else to add.
No, we out, bitches. Have a good week. I might do something during the week too. I don't know yet. I'm figuring out life shit first.
Speaking of changing names, DJ, you got to change your name.
Yeah, I'm still figuring that out.
DJ of Rock and Metal sounds fire.
I was gonna change it to DJ of the IWC and spell Dub C the same way the collective does it, just to fucking troll them. But then I was like, I'm not that petty. I'm not gonna do it.
No, it's the DJ of the DJ and Heel show. There it is.
Okay, so somebody has to DJ. I don't know if you want.
That sounds no offense.
I listened to that fight the other day. What the fuck is going on with their infighting and hitting this? I don't even know what the fuck is going on. The full story. So you're gonna have to text me about that. Don't say it on here because this thing is already going too long. So just let me know on the side.
Heard.
All right. That's it, guys. We're out. See you next week.